Mendel over here behind you is going to be one of the range officers, and Al Dubisky is going to be the other range officer. The three fundamentals that you're going to use in gun safety across the board, regardless of whether you're here or anywhere else, are on this poster right here. As you can all read, the first one was always to point the gun in a safe direction. You want to make sure that you know where the gun is pointed at all times. And you want to make sure that wherever that's pointed, you're aware that there's going to, whatever's pointed at it, you're willing to destroy. So if it's pointed somewhere at a person, at a live animal, whatever, you're willing to destroy that thing. Whether it's loaded or unloaded, you always assume that the gun is loaded. I just wanted to mention that there are rules from the NRA, there are rules from the range, there are general safety rules. I'm going to give you a mixture of all those. For example, the NRA does not recommend eating and drinking in a range because there is residue that comes out of from lead residue as well as cleaning residue. Hygiene is very important. To wash your hands and make sure that it does not get into your mouth or eyes. Here they allow you to smoke and they allow you to drink, and that has nothing to do with me. The second thing over here is always to keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready to shoot. You want to make sure when you're holding.
Eva will write up a little.
Let me just show you here. Whenever we demonstrate with a real weapon, we always make sure a second person looks at it. First, I'm going to check it visually, make sure it's unloaded, as well as physically feel that it's unloaded. And I'm going to ask you also to look inside and see that it's unloaded. That orange is actually a safety to show that it's unloaded. When there's something inside, which I'll show you soon, that you won't see that orange. So it makes it easy to see that there's nothing inside this gun. Now each shotgun will work differently, but this is not a trap gun, by the way. This is a defensive shotgun. It works a little bit differently, but it's the same concept. So you always want to keep your finger outside of the trigger until you're actually ready to shoot. So that means even when you're up on the firing line and you're aiming, you don't want to put your finger inside and touch the trigger until you're actually ready to fire. And the third one is always to keep the gun unloaded until you're ready to use it. In this case, there are different stations. You're going to have a spectator's area, which in this case is all seen outside the range. The spectator area is, I'm guessing, off the grass. I can double check that. The ready area is an area which is designated for getting your guns ready. Where the guns are going to be set up, they're going to be in a rack out there. You can pick up the gun there. You're not going to load it, so you can pick it up. You can handle it at that point. In this range, it works differently in different places. In this range, they want the gun always to be aimed down. In some ranges they want it up, this one they want it always to be down. They want the breech, which is this part over here, always to be open, if possible. There are different breeches. Let me see. Joel, can you pull me over? Can you get me a hinged shotgun over there?
I have one in my car.
There's a bunch of them over there, just to show you the differences. So this has a side breech, and you want to make sure that even when it's on the rack, it's open so everybody can see that it is unloaded.
No, not the pictures. Not the pictures. And this is supposed to be the balloon family, right?
This.
We'll give you that idea. We'll give you that idea. Okay.
You shooting?
This is a hinge brick. A hinge that opens up like this. You can look inside of it, and you're going to carry it aimed down like this to the ground, and everybody can see again that it's empty and there's nothing inside of it. When you want to put it in the rack, you're going to actually have to close it and put it down. There's no way of putting it in the rack while the hinge is open, but you just want to make sure when you take it off the rack and put it on the rack, you check to make sure that there's nothing inside of it. I'm going to give everybody an opportunity. I know some people have shot before and others this is their first time, so I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions and see if they can actually do. Obviously the range rules are that you have to know and obey all the rules of the range. You have to know where others are at all times, so you have to be aware of your situational awareness of what's going on around you. If you're standing at whether it be in the spectator area or on the firing line, you want to make sure that you know the people in trap. You have 5 different positions. You want to make sure you're in the correct position. You know that everybody, on your right side, left side, where everybody is, behind you. Obviously, you want to make sure there's nobody in front of you on the firing line. There are going to be range officers, safety officers on both of the trap houses, and you're going to listen to their instructions. main instruction you want to listen to is a ceasefire. If they scream ceasefire, you immediately cease doing whatever you're doing and wait for the additional instructions. Just shortly to cover malfunctions. Shotguns have a lot less malfunctions than other guns, but you should be aware there are times when you might pick up a shotgun and try to fire, and it will misfire. It will not fire for whatever reason. At that point, if you feel comfortable, you can just reload it again, or you can raise your hand and ask one of the range officers to help you, and they'll come and they'll. Obviously, at the same time, you're going to keep it aimed in a safe position, but downrange, but you can raise your hand and ask one of the range officers to come and assist you. You're not going to be handling any guns outside of the firing range, the firing line, sorry. You're always going to keep the unloaded safety on and the breech open. These guns, the trap guns, do not have safeties on them. The other guns, you may have a safety. This one is on top. This one, is on the side. Some of them are on top. Each gun is different. You know your gun. It's very important to know your gun. If you didn't bring your own gun and you want some instruction, we'll be happy to go over your specific gun. Again, the hygiene, you want to make sure that you don't get any of the airborne lead particles or cleaning solutions or residues in your mouth or eyes. Emergency procedures. Do we have any medical staff here? Doctor? Manning? Can I designate you as the medical personnel? As long as you're here. So Manny will be our senior medical personnel. If there is an emergency,
there's a first aid kit in one of the drawers in that area over there.
We have a first aid kit. In the middle drawer over here is our first aid. Unfortunately, there is not a SOP. I've been told there is no standard operating procedures, which you usually have at ranges. I'm not sure where that is. That is not the number. Next one over. Come over. Right, that's what they have. The one in the back supposedly has for more serious injuries. At the same time, if there's an emergency, someone's going to call 911, an ambulance, and there has to be somebody that's going to meet the ambulance at the entrance to show them how to get here. Just be aware, again, when you're shooting, you want to know not only where you're aiming at, but what is beyond what you're aiming at. There's an impact area which is beyond the range, where obviously you're shooting at these clay pigeons, these things here. The pieces after it's shot are going to fall further down. The BBs, the pellets that are actually in here are going to go further than what you see. There's an impact area which is further down, and you want to make sure there's nothing in that impact area as well. Administration issues, just you should be aware that there are bathrooms here if you need them. And like I said, we have designated medical, we have designated range safety officers. And let me just show you some of the things we're going to be using. These are the pigeons or the birds that are going to be shot out of. And I'm not going to go through the specific way that trap works because I'm not an expert in trap myself. Somebody else explain how the sport works. I'm just showing you what the devices are and how they work. This is a cartridge that we're going to be using. I have some cartridges which we use for demonstrations. These are not real cartridges, they're snaps. And I'm going to show you how to load and unload the guns with these snaps. If it's a side load like this one, basically what you're going to use is gravity. You're going to hold it down, and you're only going to load it at the time when you're going to be firing. So when it's your turn, you're going to take your cartridge and you're going to stick it inside. With these, you just drop it inside and it's loaded. Okay? At that point, if it has a safety and it's on, and you're ready to fire, you can undo the safety, you can aim and fire. In order to remove that, as soon as you open it on one of these semi-automatics, it's going to fly right out. You don't have to bother picking it up on the range. Afterwards, after it's all over, you're going to pick up all the cartridges. On these, this is a hinge breech. And this one is very simple. You just open it up, it slides right inside, and you close it. Do the opposite after it's fired. You open it again, it pops out, and you pull it out. Some people have these special jackets, which are great to have big pockets that you can keep them in, but you're going to be shooting only one at a time. You need at all times to have ear protection and eye protection. For people that don't have glasses, we have some extra eye protection, and people that need ear protection, they could either use These mops for the earplugs, we have extra earplugs.